Hi, how you doing? Welcome to Under the Floorboard with my co-host Sean Spalding.
How we doing?
Today we're going to have a 30-minute session. We've gathered questions that people have been asking, frequently asked, and we're hopefully going to try and answer some of them. Try not to pull us up if we get the wrong answers. I think we pretty much know where we are on them. So without further ado, I always like to say that.
I think that's important as well, because some of the questions that cause I put out on when I knew we were going to do this episode, I put it on social media as well to see what people might want to ask, kind of audience wise, and I've put down some of the questions that I get asked quite a lot. Mm-hmm. So I usually start when I answer these questions to people. I would kind of start with, like, this is not financial advice. This isn't me saying I'm a FC regulated person. This is my experience, my understanding, my knowledge of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, because some of the questions we do ask is like, oh, what would you do with, like, would you get a credit card to go and do this? I'm like, well, here's my experience of using a credit card. You use your own type thing. Like, I'll start off with one of them. Like, would you use a credit card to fund a renovation? Well, I would personally, because if you can get a 0% credit card, and you can afford to service the monthly debt on that 0%, and you're comfortable by the time you've either refinanced, sold the property, whatever else, that you can pay off that credit card, then why not? Because you get the money through, you can service the debt monthly, and it's a kind of means to an end for that. So that's using it smartly to then generate you extra income, extra wealth.
But it is a risk.
Save. There is a risk to it. It's a credit card. You need to have the credit rating to do it. You need to be able to make sure you can afford the monthly interest on it as well. And again, that's not me advising you get a credit card to fund your refurbs, but like certainly, like things like if you can do like Amex, Capital on Tap, all these other ones that have other benefits like Avios points and everything else, then you kind of get the benefit from that as well. So yes, I would use one if you can, because you do get the benefit of doing that, and it kind of helps you expand your kind of fund pot as such. Like if you've got a small, maybe 10, 15k renovation, and you're comfortable with that cost, you're comfortable that your renovation, your refinance will pay off that credit card, or your flip will pay off all that, and you make profit, then it's just kind of helping you with your funds. So yes, that again, not financial advice. It's not me giving you advice on using credit cards. Just my experience of using credit cards, and I think it can help.
This is our opinion. I'm going to ask a question that's not on the list, but I've been asked a couple of times, and we'll both answer it, because it's probably something I get asked more than anything. Is that what is the quickest, easiest, and best way for me to make money out of property? Right, so I get asked this all the time, and I've heard people answer this, and I've kind of disagreed with them. Right, so people always go, so let's not have an airy-fairy answer. Let's just have a realistic answer, because everybody always goes, well, the first one is easy, it's just find a flip.
No,
but I would say, first of all, every single person's trying to find flips, right? So you're in a market with experienced guys who have contacts already in place, who are getting made aware of flips before they come in. And then I know what you're going to say with your sourcing, right?
I don't think that's the easiest.
I'm coming to the third one. I'm going to give you the third one that you're currently doing at the moment. But sourcing is a long game, in my opinion, right? It's not I'm just going to go out, find a property, find an investor, sell it out. 2 weeks later, I'm going to have 10 grand, or what was it, like £1,000 in my bank. That's not impossible. I'll give you the third one, assisted sale. What was your thoughts on assisted sale as the easiest option?
It's not easier. It's certainly not easier, because a lot of that's built on trust, and you need to build that rapport with the seller. You need direct contacts in place, get the contract in place, because you need to pay money for the contract. For the assisted sale, you need to have the team in place. Your refurb numbers need to be spot on. So assisted sale, for me, is quite an advanced strategy. It's not something you would just do for your first deal, because if your renovation costs are way off, you're losing all your profit. Do you know what I mean? So you need to understand how to handle that, how to understand and handle the seller at the same time as well. Do you have if you've got funds to go and do an assisted sale, you either get it from an investor, you're raising capital, or come back to what I just said there, like a credit card or whatever else. So those things you need to think of that are a bit more advanced. For me, that's not a quick. It's quick in terms of if you compare it to a flip. it's easier if you compare it to a flip because there's less kind of components to it. What was the other one? Quick, easy, and something else.
Profitable.
Profitable. I would say the ROI on it's a lot higher because you're putting less in and maybe getting the same, or even if it's slightly less out monetary, your ROI is going to be a lot higher. But for me, so what would be your then? What would be your quickest and easiest? Just
do you know what I would do it differently? I think the best way that people should start is a joint venture that if they have a credit card, they can put a little bit of funding, but they have a joint venture with an experienced person. I think that is, you won't get a lot of money out of it, but you will get your return on it. But actually, I'm going to get all American nicely here. You will earn experience rather than you earn money, but you earn experience, which means that you've suddenly overnight, especially if it's something that needs a refurb. So I'm thinking, if we're doing work and somebody comes up and goes, and I'm not touting for work here, I'm just saying, I'm thinking back, what would I do? It would be, can I do this? Can I do all the graft for you on a JV? Can I learn? Because then you'll make money on that, on the back of a experienced person. But I can't think, because then obviously social housing,
the quickest and easiest for me would be the few ones. So yes, JV, and doesn't it be you having the funds? You could have the funds there, and you're going to do a JV someday, and you learn on that as well. You could be a private investor and do that as well. If you don't have the funds to do it, you could do all the legwork. You could be the one that go and find the property.
Yeah.
And you're learning about the due diligence side of things, and you can maybe get, I don't know, a ferrule, or you can come in and get a percentage of the profit, or whatever way that's structured. But you can go and do the legwork and go to the viewings, run the numbers, present an opportunity to somebody and do a JV that way. That's a lot of work. It's not quick. It's a lot of work, and it's cost efficient. But see, to be fair, like if I was to say, go back now, everything I know now, and sourcing's brilliant, it is good, it does take time. But if I was to go back now and go, right, Sean, pick one thing to go and do, and you can get a good bit of money. I'm not talking about £100 or £200.
Do you have money on you at the moment?
No money.
Zero money, right?
No experience. Go and find properties that have been lying empty. Sorry, not lying. I've been lying on the market for ages, can't get a sale. Go and find chapters, empty houses that are kind of run down. Speak to people, build your network. If you can have fair, like I was, not to, like plug certain companies, but if I was to go to Prime and give them a property, you get £1,000.
Mm-hmm.
If they sell it, when they sell it.
Yeah.
For me, that's quick. Could they sell it within 30 days? Once that's sold, you get your money. And it's not a plug for like Prime or anything, but that's a quick way for me to make money. Do you know what I mean? But there's other ways you could do it to estate agents. Listen,
yeah, I totally agree.
To sell
Prime,
a house here.
the Prime option works.
Would you do it and go to an estate agent, and an estate agent can give you a referral? Might not be as much, but they can give you a referral, and that's money there. Another way, if you really wanted to get into property, for me, like, and you had, it's always hard in different situations, but if you were in a position where, do you know what, I can just go and quit my job here, 'cause it's just a job, and I'm going to work somewhere else, go and work in property. Go and work for an estate agent, an auction house, a letting agent, and learn about the industry, learn about the lingo that gets spoken about, the jargon, build contacts, build networks that way as well, because you'll be getting paid a wage, and it's not going to be, life-changing, but you'll gain experience, kind of what you were saying, to the kind of JV point.
Yeah.
So you can still get in, gain experience, learn the lingo, learn the, what people are looking for about yields and everything else, so you can talk about property more confidently, and then go out your way and see what else you can do. So you'll make money by doing it, and you'll learn about property.
I spoke to a guy about 6 months ago, and he'd come off a course, and he was like, right, I'm ready to go. A guy in Inverness, his wife, just had a wee baby and stuff, and he goes, I'm ready to go. I'm going to build my website. I'm going to start doing Facebook ads. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Is that the way to go? And I was like, you should stop all of that. Have you got a decent, comfy pair of trainers? And I was like, you need to walk around every single street in Inverness, every estate agent, every day, and just get talking to them, because you're right. If a deal comes up, if he finds a property that is below market, he could come to a sourcer as well and go, look, I want to dual source this with you. I want, if you're going to pass this on to an investor and say, you're going to say to the investor, this is a great deal, I want $5,000, you could get $2,500 of that.
Yeah, to collaborate with other sources as well, people who are sourcing and have got the investors, have got the exit for you lined up, or maybe have a different way of looking at the properties to get more creative, like assisted sales and whatever else. assured sales, all these other ones you can do, then if you can just find the property, and I've got people just now who haven't done a deal yet, and like, listen, I've got a couple of friends, family looking to sell, they're happy for me to try and help them. Could they want to help me? Like, what can we do? And I'll work with them on that kind of basis. They'll learn from it. I'll talk them through it. I'll talk them through the refurb, and we'll just do a split on it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of times you can just, it's about networking into it. Like, look out who your network is on these different groups, go to networking events, whatever else, reach
100%.
out. The big, like, see the whole pick your brain, can I have a coffee kind of thing, like, it is good. Because I've done it as well, but it's about like what value you're giving that person as well. It's not just about like, can I get everything you know within that hour of coffee? Do you know what I mean? So what value can you give them? Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, can I go into a few viewings and we'll do some work together? Aye, of course.
Yeah,
so,
and almost like, I hate to say it, but like an unofficial mentor, like that kind of thing, exactly like that. That says, look, can I just shadow you? And I'm going to go and look at what you're doing. I know you've not got the time to go around like the whole of Inverness, but I will.
I wouldn't say as much as shadow.
deal.
What I'd maybe say, like, because I've been asked to get, can I shadow you for a day and come out? I'm like, nah, I've not got time for that. But what I mean, like, I think what you maybe mean is more, I don't know, that sounds pure dickish when I say I haven't got time for that. I just mean, like, I'm not in a position where I'm not in a position where I can sit down and stop and show you everything that I'm doing and talk to you about it all, but I'm happy to do something with you. So may it be like you go and find, you say, listen, what does a deal look like for your investors? And I'll say, look, this is the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Go and do the viewings and then we come back and we can do a deal. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like, put that work in, and I'll show you,
guy.
and I'll talk you through the due diligence of it, and I'll show you, say, actually, you've got £900 rent, but if you look at these ones, it's actually maybe about £750. Your end value is £120, but actually, if you look at these ones compared to the one we're looking at, you're probably only going to be at about £110. I can help you through the due diligence side of it. The refurb, I can help you through all that, because that, I suppose that's that kind of shadowing you're talking about. But I like going out, for me personally, if you to ask me like, oh, can I come sit in your car and we can drive around, do viewings together, that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and I know I had a guy the same that was like, can I do this? And I was like, well, I'm going to go and view these two properties. Come on, I'll show you what I look for. And then he did that, and I was like, go and find another two of this market, show me them at the beginning, and then if I tell you they're decent and this is why, then we'll go and view them. And then if we proceed further, then it means that you'll make money out of it. And I did, and it kind of, he was very, this is a deal of the century. You know, that's the one point I would say that every single person, when they first start in property, believes that a house that 15 other people have knocked back is the deal of the century. Right? And we've done it. I know it's few and it's lucky, but we've all done it. We've all like, this is the greatest deal ever. And you go, actually, why have 15 people knocked us back and what am I missing here? And it's when you realise that it's a flat roof and it's, you know, non-standard construction and all sorts of stuff, and you won't get a mortgage on it, and it's above a takeaway shop and all sorts. So I guess just to summarise, because I think this was actually quite important, is that if you were just starting afresh, I think that the whole going looking at the area, working out, seeing if you can find deals, getting yourself a comfy pair of trainers. Don't be building systems like websites and spending $1,000 a month on Facebook ads because you get nothing at that end. Focus on finding the property, focus on reaching out to people and seeing if you can do a JV with them and you can provide the property and they might provide the investment and the experience, and you gain from there.
Yeah. Cool. And we'll fly through the rest of them. We'll fly through the rest of them as well in terms of as we can. So I've got a couple here that come off like social media and for the audience as well. So what makes a deal attractive to investors, other than the BMV and the unicorn deals, but what do you think makes a deal attractive to investors? So we'll do it kind of short and sharp, kind of quick fire.
What makes a deal attractive to investors? High return, less trouble, potential remortgage, and long-term. For me, the guys that I'm speaking to, they want ongoing net profit monthly.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. My answer was going to be, it depends. So the guys you're speaking to want that. Guys I'm speaking to, the girls I'm speaking to might not want that. Mm-hmm. So for me, what makes a deal attractive to investors is it depends. It depends on their goals. It depends on their strategy. It depends on why they're investing in the first place, depends on how much money they've got to invest in the first place. So what makes a deal attractive to investors is it depends, and it's not a great answer. But again, it doesn't help. So if I was to say it help, if you're going to source them for buy-to-let, let's just say you're going to source for buy-to-lets, what makes a generic deal viable? Viable? Is that a word? What makes a deal, a generic deal...
Viable?
Viable? I don't know. What makes a generic deal look attractive to investors? So things like 10% gross yield, for me, it would hit most investors' criteria. £200 a month net cash flow after all expenses, so maintenance costs, letting fees, insurance factors, etc. After all that, mortgage, running about £250 a month would make.
But is that not depend on what they put down in the first place?
Yes, but that's a generic approach. So people might want more. Some people don't care about cash flow. It's more about the yield. So that's why I'm saying 10% gross. Generally, those ones will kind of tick the boxes for most investors. There will be ones who want to do refinance and pull out leave in a certain amount of money, and there'll be ones that want to look at SA and it's a higher cash flow, or HMO and it's a higher cash flow, and so yeah, it will vary. So it depends on who you're speaking to, but generally 10% gross yield, £250 a month cash flow, and again, how much money is getting into the deal to what you're getting back. So your ROI.
Yeah. Next one, I'll go first. Maybe we can just jump in with these. In fact, entering property investment as a first-time buyer.
So when we got asked that was more about as a first-time buyer, so they don't own a residential home just now. So it's more like, how does that affect things like ADS? Is there a way they can avoid ADS? And there's a number of ways you can avoid ADS or not pay ADS, which is an additional dwelling supplement, which is 8% just now in Scotland. So things like portfolio purchases, so 6+, but you'll still be liable for LBBT and stuff, but you won't have your ADS. You can purchase a property.
Move into it?
You can purchase a property less than 40k, so 39,999 is the magic number, and you won't have ADS to pay on that. So that's the two ways you can mostly do it. As a first-time buyer, you could move into it and then use it as a kind of buy-to-let. Suppose you've got a higher interest rate. Your next one, however, will then have your ADS. You could... A lot of people do it for flips mostly. If you're using investments for your personal name and you don't have a ADS to pay, you can do your personal name for flips. You can get a higher loan to value, so you don't have to put down a bigger deposit. You don't have that ADS there as well, so your actual margins can be kind of closer, which means you can offer more and potentially get more deals that way as well.
One thing for people to be wary of, I read yesterday in some sort of Property Monthly, some of these magazines I subscribe to. Right. I know, I get all excited about them. I think they said that the average in Scotland is over £4,000 a month to sell your house, and roughly about the same to buy without ADS. So, for example, people always disregard these things. They just, they forget about mortgage rates. They forget if they're selling. They forget about estate agency fees. People forget about ADS. They forget about insurance. They forget about refurb. They just assume that they're going to go into this house that looks great on paper, but if they buy it in an auction, they're forgetting about auction prices. They're, all these types of things, and that people need to be really, really wary of. Yeah. And this is only for buy to let. I mean, we'll probably ask separately about SA because that's just
another. We'll just keep it basic just now.
But my point is that you need to be going in there with open eyes to go, what else do I need to pay apart from a deposit, ADS, and the house?
But that's one of the questions we got as well, was what fees should I include for buying a property in Scotland for rent? So your purchase, so whether that be your cash purchase or you're going to use a deposit. So deposit generally 25% of the purchase. You need 25% of the deposit, so you're 100k, for example, for easy maths. So you need 25 grand for that. You need to pay your stamp ADS at that price range anyway. Assuming there's no other ways we can avoid it as such. So 100k, you'd be paying 8% on that, which is 8 grand. You then need your legal fees, which will vary depending on who you use and everything else, but roughly about £1,200 for that. Yeah. The renovation costs, whatever that may be, it could be 5, 10, 15, 20, 2, 3, whatever it may be. Your renovation costs, you need to incorporate in that. And
factors? I mean, a lot of times
I would include that in your
or
monthly net for your exit and everything else. But for your actual acquisition, that would be the kind of four main ones I would look at. So your purchase, deposit or cash, your stamp, your legals, and your renovation cost. The other thing I'd do, if you are using a sourcer, for example, then your sourcing fee, make sure you're including that. Because there is some deals you look at and it's like, well, here's everything you need to do it, and then it's $5,000 to buy it. Whereas I'm more like, well, here's everything you need plus my fee, and that's everything you need to buy it. So when you're looking at your ROI, you're looking at your money required, it's a clear as day what you need.
yeah.
Not, here's your main thing, and then here's a fee to do it, which kind of separates the numbers and can skew it a little bit. The other thing you could probably include in there, which I think would be pretty standard things, like your broker fees. If you're using like a mortgage, you can include your broker fees.
I was about to say a mortgage because I think some of them, I spoke to someone yesterday and they were 7%. For a great deal, it was 7% down. And they will take that, you'll add that onto the mortgage, but that's also going to be an increased mortgage. So I think, and also if it's a bridge, it's 2% you have to pay up front and then 1% a month.
Yep.
As well, these are...
I think with bridging, it can obviously be a bit skewed. Obviously not skewed, sorry, but there's a lot more to it than that. But I was just talking about, that question was more around about the basics of a normal kind of buy-to-let or a normal purchase, using bridging, a bit more advanced, using like cross-collateral charges, equity release, and all these other things. They're all going to have different components to it. So
just one point I think to make, that probably based on the first one and the second one, that is really, really important, and it's probably my pet hate, is that when people do calculate numbers, they sometimes don't include ADS in it. And in my book, it's just, if you have all the money in your pocket, how much is going out is what it is. So ADS is included, brokers, because they go, I've made 15% profit, and you're like, you've not included the broker fees or the mortgage or
exit fees for your bridge and all that.
None of that in there.
Okay.
Next.
What one you got?
Is it worth investing in Scotland, and what factors to include? Property prices tend to be less in Scotland.
Yeah. So is it worth investing in Scotland? So I always come back down to is what your goals are. And that was me. I was kind of writing a response back to him when I said that. And I says, well, property prices tend to be lower in Scotland. I've got a couple of friends down in England, and I'll say like, 3-bedroom house, 3-bedroom terrace house, 120k is like 120k, like that's like 200k plus up down here. So my point being, you can get a lot more house for money up in Scotland, which means your return for your yield's going to be higher, your cash flow is going to be higher because your mortgage rate will be less as well. So there's those kind of things to kind of factor in. But other things, you also want to look at things like nearby schools, hospitals, doctors, transport, amenities, shops, developments. And there's a lot of that going on in Scotland as well, in a lot of areas. So the demand's super high for rent in Scotland as well. So for me, I would say, maybe being biased in Scotland, building portfolios in Scotland. So it's probably biased to me saying that, but it's just about the numbers on it, and that's it. Scotland generally have the lowest price of the houses, so your return's going to be a lot higher. And as we get a lot of overseas investments coming in as well, because they know they can get a high return on their money. Yeah,
and that's kind of where I'd inclined to be doing the same, albeit sometimes I've moved into North East as well, because it kind of like is those prices slightly higher, but it's different areas in Scotland, and it is cheaper. You are getting a better return on your money than a one bed, in the centre of London. It's costing you £1.5 million, and probably the rent isn't that much different. No. Comparable. Is it better to save money or invest?
Again, not FCA regulated here. It's just an opinion. But
I definitely am not, just to be clear here.
Yeah,
right?
I got an email through, was it last month? I can't remember now. I can't remember where we were. It was June anyway. So last month. And it's like, oh, great news, your saving rate is now, I think it's like 1.2 or something like that. So when I looked at it, I was like, okay, we'll round it 1%. So 1%, so if I had 50k, right, just average 50k, you shoved it in a savings account, at the end of that year, your AER, your annual something equivalent rate or something, your AER
That's it.
1%, you would get £500 back in the year.
Yeah.
Right, so that's your return on that 50k getting into the bank. On the other side of it, if I had 50k, and then when the question was invest, it was more around property investment. Because
Yeah.
as is bonds and stocks and shares and everything else. But for property investment, I mentioned it earlier on. If you go and get a property, your ROI can be 10 times what you would get in a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's more components. Yes, there's more moving parts. But ultimately, your return on that money is a lot higher than it would be in a savings account. And for me, you also get the opportunity with capital appreciation in some areas as well. So you'll get the return, which is a lot higher, and you'll get that capital appreciation in the property as well.
That 50 grand, just in a high calculation based on some ones that I've spoke to, that's two 25 grand deposits. Two 20 grand deposits, that's two 80 grand houses. Two 80 grand houses on a rental in certain areas is 3 beds. That's £1,600 a month. That's coming into your account per month. That you're probably getting.
You're not getting anywhere near that in a savings. And again, that's not financial advice. It's not.
No, that's just experience on that money that I've
rates
used
on the bank and all that kind of thing you see on social media. And I've done that before in the past, 100%. But it's just numbers. You get 1% in a savings account, and you get a better return on a property and other investments. But again, it's appetite to risk, isn't it? Because if you've got, maybe that's your life savings, maybe that's an inheritance, maybe that's, I don't know, that you found it at your back door, whatever it may be, and you get 50k, you're like, I don't know what to do with this, I'm going to put it in a savings account because that's all I know is to get a mortgage, pay it down, get a savings account, put it away and store it away for a rainy day, and you get 1% back. Whereas I think we've done a deal, there's dealing conveyancing just now for one of my investors, and I can't remember to the decimal point, but the ROI on it is like 10.2% or something like that, 10 point some percent. So it's 10 times a return on their money on that one property. And that property will go up in value. The rent will go up in value as well, so the actual ROI will increase. And then they can pull back some of the money as well. So it's not a full, I think the overall cost is like 35, 40k getting into it, and they'll pull out half of it or something.
That investor I was talking to, funny enough, the Dubai one that bought the mirrors, he had looked at everything, right? He literally, I'm not joking, he was like, I'm going to buy gold. I'm like, all right, good for you. And then he was like, I did look at Bitcoin and I will make millions. And I was like, yeah, I says, it's a bit like the horses, really. I think Bitcoin, sometimes it's going to rise up and up and up, and you think it's at the top and you take your money out and then it increases or it drops. So I again, not financially registered here either, but I think that I say to people, don't think of the capital appreciation on a house because that's just an added bonus that's going to come. I think one thing for sure is that most houses increase in price, right?
I think to that point, they do go up and do come down, as everybody knows, but they also come back up again. Yeah. Like most trades. Like the thing is, for me is, so what happened when, was it the Trump tariffs recently? Mm-hmm. And I think the stocks just plummeted overnight. Or you look at what's her face in the UK. Oh, a couple of years ago now, she made the kind of mini budget. Can't remember her name, but made a mini.
She was in the government for 86 days.
Aye,
Truss.
Aye, and the economy nearly bloody collapsed. Pensions were like that away. If you can zoom in, that away. Bought here away for the collapsing in pensions. And all because of one radical change. The houses pretty much just battled out. And I'm not saying they won't go down. I'm not saying they won't go back up. They will fluctuate, but to not the degree that other things like stocks and that would react to the market as quickly. Your money can be a lot more volatile.
And if people are clever with an investment on a house, right, they would use that net profit to either invest in another one or to keep an eye on it, keep some by for things that go wrong, boilers and all these types of things. But just don't count on the capital appreciation because that, as I say, is an added bonus.
Added bonus. Is 20k enough to invest? Is 20k enough to invest in property?
Now you're going to answer one of these like a political question, aren't you? You're going to go, it depends on blah 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 blah. I'm just going to be straight with it. Yes.
I'm going to say no. For the most part, So for the most part, people are like, I've got 20k, can I get a buy to let? No. Most part. Because the time you add in your deposit, by the time you add in your deposit of 25%, by the time you add in your EDS, a refurb, your legal fees, your broker fees, and everything else that goes with it, I don't think that's enough.
So let's work it out. Just say that we got a 50 grand house.
Mm-hmm. I'll calculate it because my maths is not great on my head.
So a 50 grand house, right? 12.5 grand deposit. Roughly. All the other fees, let's assume it's a minimal refurb because you would find it.
So
You've got 8.5 grand to do the rest with it. You've probably got ADS is
the 12.5
going to be
grand for your deposit, 4 grand for your ADS, about 1,200 for your legals. So you've got what 2,300 for a renovation. Your compliance alone for most buy-to-lets, you add in your smoke and heat detectors. Most consumers will need upgraded to be RTD protected on both sides of the circuit. Your EICR, your gas air, your Legionella. If it was built pre-1970, you need your lead testing in there as well. You could easily be at least $1,000 for compliance
this
alone.
is worst case, right? Because I'm assuming it's something that
Even turnkeys, unless you're buying it off of a landlord who's
unless you find it. So let's go that. That's 5 grand. So then you've got your
so we're up at
17
18,700 just now. So
and then you go to a rental company. So
broker fee £500. Let's just say roughly. That's 19.2.
Yeah.
Landlord registration, insurances
for a 2-bed flat, 300 quid.
I think 20k is too tight. Because you look at 50k as a cost, and especially in Scotland as well. Then you look at your lenders. Your lenders are going to be higher than your rates just now. Roughly for a 75k purchase, you're roughly about 4.5%, I'd say, for interest rate. At this point in talking.
I bet if you refurb that house and you get 3 grand on it, 4 grand on it.
What you refurbing for $1,000? You putting paint in?
What happens if you off market it? You're buying off market. The point is, it's what you start with at the beginning. That's why I'm going yes.
I think for a typical buy to let, because what I mean by that is 50k, your cash flow might be higher, but your interest rate will be a lot higher. So it depends on what you're looking at. But for the most part, I think 20k for people that come to me as well for the sourcing side of it, I'd definitely say no, because then you add your sourcing fee to that and you're well above the 20k. But if you're looking at yourself, 20k, what can I do myself? Based on the ground, go and that, find the best way you can, do some of the renovation yourself and get things in really, really cheap, possibly, and then you've got 20k locked up there. That's fine. That's absolutely fine to do if you've got that there. But I think it's just a bit tight. For me, if I had the 20k, just starting out and going, right, what should I do? Because back to that, JV with somebody, invest with somebody, as a kind of, you get the money, get a return on it, or 50-50, whatever the structure is, and learn from it as well. And that way, you're going to get a return on the money, you're going to make the money work, and you're also going to learn more. So your next one, and you're kind of growing that pot as well. You could easily put 20k in,
they might want
20k in your pal, you get 40k there and get a bigger investment. So the short answer for me would be depends, really. I don't think it can stretch as much as you might think it would.
That's quite a hard question, by the way. Has this guy got experience? Can you tell me what he looks like? What is he
like? Brand new. He's RIP. His granny's died, and he's left him 20k. Wants to invest in property.
What was that? By the way, that was
I was
a weird
blessing
one.
myself. Sorry if you're offended.
That's a wee shame.
Sorry if you're offended.
I'm sorry for your dad. But I still think, I mean, you're scraping it, but I still think that he's got his 20 grand and suddenly he's getting £600 gross a month on a 500. Watch this. I'd work it out. 45. I reckon he's probably getting he's probably making 250 profit on a 280 mortgage. Plus he's got all his wee bits that he needs to pay on a rental, buy to let.
Just straightforward buy to let. Oh, I don't know what I was calculating now. I did maths on my phone.
I'm just working at the top of my head, the numbers that I would. But you're right, I think it's really tight.
I think it's really tight. But if you're, I think I was more looking at somebody coming to me saying, "I've got 20k, can you help me build a portfolio?" But that'd be very, very difficult.
Yeah, but you've got your sourcing fee straight off the top there.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Somebody keeping me with that. I'm saying that's straight away. You're looking at 15, 16 grand.
Yeah.
So it's tough. The time you're in all the other fees, I think is very, very tough. So I would look at employing that someone else to grow that fund, get involved in other projects, JV with somebody. But again, if you get 20k, listen, all I want to do is shove that 20k into one property and get a return on it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably maybe not enough time to dive into it. But then I would then raise the question is, okay, so you're doing it in your own name. If you do it in your own name, you're going to have Section 24, which is going to be, you can't claim back the tax and all that, so actually your profits are going to be dwindled at the end of the year. So actually, is it worth doing it? Or you're just saving it there because you're getting a better return, and it's a longer haul, you're going to get capital appreciation, or you're going to do a limited company. But if you're a limited company, you've got company setup costs, you've got your annual accounts, you've got your accounting fees to pay, corporation tax potentially.
But they're ongoing costs that you're
I know, but
280 quid a month
I'm
profit
thinking about, is it worth that in the head? So maybe it's getting a bit deeper, but personally I think put it to better use.
Controversial question. Please come back with your answer on this one.
I think you can put it to better use.
Is being a landlord worth it? Now, we've had Willie in a couple of times, right? And he ages every time I see him. Sorry, Willie.
That's a letting agent, but I think
he's dealing with landlords and he's dealing with rental companies and.
Sure. I mean, I'm not a landlord, so I can't speak as if I am a landlord. However, speaking to clients who are landlords, wanting to be landlords, the amount of landlords I see, I say landlord in that term because it's classed as, but property investors, that's what they are. They invest in property, they're technically landlords.
Are they managing it themselves, or are they?
No, it's not a letting agent, they're landlords. They're technically classed as a landlord, aren't they? They've got a landlord.
So they're just an investor.
Yeah, but their technical term is landlord. But property investors, and they keep coming, people keep growing their portfolio. So to me, that would say absolutely. You've got banks like, is it TSB or whatever, or Lloyd's, looking to be one of the biggest, or I think they already are.
They are now, aye.
Private landlord, or whatever it is it in the UK or whatever?
Is it something like in 5 years alone, something like between 34 and 42% of the rental market? I mean, how scary is that?
When you look at it that way, is it worth it? There's two ways. Yes, I think overall, because of, like I say, going back to everybody's answer with the returns and everything else you can do with it. But then you look at the bashing that constantly gets happened with government interfering with the markets. You look at Section 24 that I just mentioned there, that was a thing, and things can change throughout time. But if you're kind of savvy to it and you understand it and you're keeping top of it, you raise your rents in line with like inflation and stuff like that, so you're not left behind when it comes to big things that have happened with rent freezes and you know, controls. Then yeah, if you keep on top of it and you manage it correctly and you treat it like a business, then absolutely. But if you want to be a landlord for one property, it can be very, very tough.
Yeah, I agree. So a final question. Go for it. There is.
Yeah, we'll do one more question. We might answer. We'll make another session like this.
What three things? What three things? Pieces of advice, short and sharp. It's not even on your phone, like.
No, I didn't get this question.
What pieces of advice, three things, would you give somebody who is going to move into property? I'm not telling you whether it's as a investor, as anything at all. They're moving into property. They're giving up their job. They've got. Well, I'm not even telling you anything else. What advice?
I'm quite an analytical person, so I need more information to give them an answer. But so for three pieces of advice, I'm getting into property. What would you advise?
Don't. Call me.
Prepare to work harder than you've worked before if you're doing it yourself. So if you get in and you are being a director of the company, you're being self-employed, whatever it may be, prepare to work harder than you worked before. It's more rewarding, but you work longer hours. You get to choose your hours, because I can pick days where can take a few hours to go. I'll do work at night time, but stuff needs done, and you can't just keep putting it off and see you work for yourself. Like, shit doesn't happen without you going out and making the connections, generating leads, speaking to agents. I don't know what field they're getting into. Do you know what I mean? But like, prepare to put in the work and probably work harder and longer than you did in your employment, because you are it. It's on you. Mm-hmm. Second bit of advice, manage your cash flow. You see a lot of people that can't pay invoices on time. They can't pay their invoice till next week because they're waiting on this invoice coming, and that can happen because shit
totally
happens. But manage your cash flow. Look at what's coming in. Look at what's going out. Make sure you've got a forecast in there so you can actually see, right, this money's due to come in here, and I can see what I can pay out and what I can get invested in. I know there's people that run businesses that they're scraping the bar every time, they get away with it, and it worked for them. For me, I'm a bit more, I need to know what's happening, and I need to have that kind of, I can't just be like, there's nothing there, I'm due to pay an invoice at the end of the week. That's not for me. But people kind of working that way and living that way, that's fine, because that's their methodology and it works for them. They're doing really good with it. But for me, I need to be more controlled in terms of what's in and what's out. So yeah, manage your cash flow correctly, make sure you've got a forecast in there. And then the third piece of advice, enjoy it. Like, the reason you're making this step is for whatever your reason is, you've not told me, but you're making this step, for me, from my own advice and from my own personal experience, you're making this step because you want the choice of life. You want the choice to do what you want to do. So enjoy it. Like, don't spend all your time working the fact that you can't enjoy the moment you're in, because you're never going to be this age again. You're never going to be this fit and healthy again. You're never going to, for me, see your kids as young again. That's more important than the extra hour you're doing on looking at property, the extra viewing you're doing, the extra meeting that you've put in because you're working all that time. Enjoy the moment you're in. Enjoy the reason you've taken this here, but still be prepared to put in the hours, put in the work, and still being able to enjoy the moment.
I think ones I'm thinking as well, I'm going to get all American here, relationship management, right? It comes twofold. I think we touched it earlier. It's really important that you are seen as someone who will provide value if you're trying to seek advice. Has to be two-way, because there's more chance of somebody giving you more advice if they see as though you're interested and you're listening. So 2 ears, one mouth. It's always a good one to start. The other thing on that relationship management, a kind of negative aspect of property is that, you know, everyone is in a business. People will openly help, and there's lots of great guys out there, but there's also not so great people out there as well. So just be wary of what's happening and use your intelligence that you've got to understand deals and understand if they work. Do your own due diligence. Don't rely on anybody else. And that's where the hard work comes in. Just, you've got Google, you've got ChatGPT, get it asking questions and working stuff out. And, you know, that looks like the greatest deal in the world. Great. What does the street look like? Oh, hang on, there's 15 Asbos in the street. Am I going to be able to refurb this and spend £1,000, £100,000 on refurbing it, and I'm going to get my money back? So I think that relationship management and due diligence are really, really important. And again, you're right that I can't believe I'm actually saying I should practice what I preach on this one, right enough. But I plan, and I think everybody should be doing goals, high level goals. And once you achieve them, you should maybe take a step back, reward yourself, take a breath, have a look around, be happy with that.
Yeah.
Because most people, I know you do the same, are like, great, I've achieved that goal, let's just make it harder. Because, and that's really, really, to take stock of exactly what you've accomplished, write it down, and then go, wow, I actually said I would take 6 months to do that, and I've done it in 3, and enjoy that.
See, even just to end as well on, but seeing that point where, like, take stock of what you've done. Like, I remember when I was on holiday last week, I was like, right, I was actually having that kind of moment, because you're slowing down, you actually start thinking about a lot of things. And I was like, actually, I've not achieved anywhere near as what I wanted to. I thought I would at this moment in time. However, I attended an event, a 2-day event at the weekend, where I seen people standing up on stage talking about their experiences and everything else on, like, courses and property and everything else and what they've been able to achieve. And if I was roll back and sat on that same stage and I seen myself now go up on that stage and talk about what I have accomplished, I thought I'd be a fucking rock star. Do you know what I mean? I'd look at them and go, that's fucking incredible. But I stand here now going, I can do a lot more. Mm-hmm. But if I was to go back and look at where I was to where I am now, I'm like, I've accomplished a lot in my own head and my own kind of success, because you are your own success. And I think what I've done is incredible for me. Do you know what I mean? Everybody else will get different levels of success that they want. But if I look at it going, do you know what, I'm where I was in terms of knowledge, experience, I suppose funds, and property, I've achieved a lot more than what I had done. So take stock of where you came from in terms of experience and all that, and then just make sure you're pushing on to get bigger goals.
And I think the whole imposter intimidation thing, don't be intimidated by other people that you believe are doing much, much better than you. You don't know the problems, the grief, the trouble, the hard work that they've had to go through to get to there. So don't be intimidated when you go, oh, this guy's doing this and that and the next thing, because he's equally got problems as well. And, everybody's in it, for themselves. So make sure that you're fine, but don't be intimidated and don't have imposter syndrome. You should ban that word at all.
Yeah. It's fine to be scared, but be scared and do it anyway.
Exactly.
Right, we'll finish up in a lovely ginger shot. I have not missed these one bit.
I have been drinking these, so I'm fine with them, actually.
See,
good bit of
and all
ginger.
that. Cow.
Oh,
I said cow. I get you some cow.
You can.
Offended.
You can.
Woo!
Beautiful.
That is spicy.
Feel warming.
Anyway, what we enjoyed is chugging some fucking ginger shots.
You
there
down
for
them
the
really
entertainment.
quick, by the way.
I know, I think I'm no well, mate, to help me. One bit of me
You're like
see there.
that.
I know, I'm a quick drinker. I'm just back for holiday, mate. I was tanning pints. I'm just... but no, listen, thank you very much for joining us again for another episodes. It was a kind of quick fire one. This one, again, just to get some questions out that we get constantly asked. Audience were asking us questions. We've got someone on social media as well. So if you've got any questions you want to ask, we can maybe do another one of these sessions. I know we didn't go through all of them, so we can do another one of these wee sessions later down the line. But yeah, until next time.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll speak to you all later.
Cheers now.